Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Tara Woodruff After Hours. I just want to come in and say hello, say what's up. I had an amazing 4th of July, probably the best 4th of July that I can remember. For real. I painted a painting, although I'm not like the biggest fan of that painting yet. That's okay because that happens. Um, there's a painting I have over here. Let me see if I can show you. See that? I painted that over a year ago and I hated it all the way up until maybe 2 months ago. And I finally put some protection on it. I put polyacrylic, 4 coats, and when I get some epoxy, I'm going to go ahead and do a deep pour epoxy on it. So that's even going to make it more amazing. So the painting I did last night, I'm like, I had all sorts of things going on, and I don't know why it didn't do the thing, but that's okay. I'm just glad that when I decided you're going to paint today, no matter what, that I actually did it. Um, Yesterday was just really nice, really really nice. Um, I don't even know, like there was so many different things that were just so perfect about it, and I loved it. And when it was time for like fireworks, because I have the ACs on, there's local fireworks here, and they're not far away, and you kind of hear them. Not really though, because I'm in the mountains. I'm in the Appalachian Mountains, and my little spot is more of as oh gosh, it's still considered mountains, but I would say we're more rolling hills right here. And so I can look out at the J Peak, which is the biggest mountain in my spot. Um, I can look out at that out my window, but I'm still not like all the way down. Like I'm not in a valley. I don't know if that makes any sense. As a matter of fact, I'm on a pretty good size hill, as a matter of fact. But the town right nearby has a small fireworks show. And last night I was doing dishes because I was still trying to determine, are you going to eat dinner? Because I broke fast around, I have it written down, aren't I smart? 12:30 yesterday. And I broke fast with I call it a D&D steak now, Delmonico Denver, which is basically a chuck steak with both sides. And I ate that, so I was satiated for the day. I did a bunch of different things around the house, was feeling really pleasant and peaceful, doing a little dishes. I look up and I'm like, check that out. And I stood there and watched the fireworks out my window. And I loved that. And one of the reasons why I loved it was because I realized that I am so blessed to be in such a small town that even if I were to go to the fireworks, I don't do big crowds. I don't even like going to the grocery store. You know that. Um, Although I can live in a city, no problem. I don't understand it, but I really prefer quiet. I really prefer the small grocery stores. Or they're not. I don't even have a grocery store in my town. Kind of in a food desert. You've got to go 13 miles east or 25 miles west to get to a grocery store. And I don't even know about south. North, I'd be in Canada. So, um, just to be able to look out at this beautiful little spot with their sweet fireworks, with the mountains out behind it, and just know that the people there are having such a beautiful time. It's so wholesome. They're they're not afraid. They're not dealing with things that are, terrifying. And I said to myself, maybe next year you'll go. You'll get somebody to take you because I don't drive at night. And that may be the case no matter where I am. Maybe next year I will go in person. Um, it's just so awesome to know that there's maybe 200 people actually showed up, if that. As a matter of fact, well, tomorrow I'm going to be a little busy. I should have probably done it today. Stopped at the store over there and asked how many people they think came. It couldn't have been more than 200 people. They have a small field that they set up with, some food trucks and whatnot, and the kids can run around. And it's, I don't even think they have extra parking. Like, it's small town. And it just felt so good. And I was like, that is just amazing. Then I was like, oh, maybe I should feel bad that I didn't go, you know. And I'm like, no, I don't feel bad that I didn't go. But what I realized is I'm getting hungry. So I kind of like did the thing like after the fireworks, I decided to go into the restaurant to eat. They've got a good restaurant in that town. At least it's good at dinner time. Breakfast and lunch are hit or miss. I don't know why they do all three. Maybe because it's the only restaurant over there. But I just loved it, and I felt so good and grateful. And I hope everyone had a really nice time, whether you live in the city or the country or the suburbs or whatever. I hope that you had a really good time and were just, able to relax and feel how amazing it really is. Um, so I decided on having a giant cheeseburger because it's 4th of July, and I'm like, I could pretend like I'm at a barbecue. And the thing that I thought was really funny is that I was thinking, like, oh, you're just all by yourself with your dog and your cat. Then I realized that for so many years, especially after my unfortunate experience in my previous relationship, being alone has been one of my top priorities. And I actually had like one of those date days with myself. It was nuts. Fancy and I went out at sunset to watch the sunset, and she just laid in the grass, was so happy. When she rolls around on the ground, I always picture her that she's feeling like she's giving the earth a big hug, which a greenie beanie, whatever that sounds like, I think that's what she's doing. I think she's just being so grateful, and it feels so good. And I'm like, I love that. And I was sitting there. It's going to be kind of a rambly video, just so you know. If you don't want to listen to my blog, then this may be not for you. I'm not going to come here with a lot of profound insights or anything like that. I'm just kind of talking. So anyway, I'm sitting there and she's rolling around on the ground, and I've got pretty darn good eyesight. You wouldn't know by the glasses when it comes to movement in woods. And that comes from growing up in Montauk and being like, I was one of those kids. I'm of that age where come home and the lights come on the streets. Like, although I don't think we had any street lights in Montauk, very small amount. Um, and walking through the woods and being like, holy shit, that feeling like you're being watched. The billions of eyes that are on you that you don't even see because they're just small or they're hiding because you're a human and all that fun stuff. Like the little animals everywhere. And it's also Montauk's a spooky place in general. If you've never heard of Montauk, New York, Google it. Google Montauk spooky. You'll be like, oh, yeah, I grew up there. And so I'm really good at spotting things, especially as I got older and started driving. The deer are extra abundant there, like super duper abundant. We were a small town, but we weren't like here. Um, we were rural, but we weren't like here. Like kids didn't drive around in their pickups with guns in their back window. anymore. They did that in the 70s, but when I was growing up, they didn't do that anymore. Um, so it's different. There's hunting kids here, that have guns in their cars for hunting. So anyway, when you're driving in Montauk, there's so many abundant deer, and I'm pretty sure that's still the case. Uh, you are always looking for some sort of eye shine on the sides of the roads or any kind of movement, and you learn very quickly if you see one, there's probably three. And so I got really good at that. And so I'm really good at noticing a shift in the wilderness. So my house sits on a hayfield and wilderness behind it. It's about 17 acres. The hayfield is probably about 3, maybe even less. Could be less, could be 2. And after that, it's woods. And it's woods for a long while. And if you can't see a house, there might be one there, but you can't get to it from here, kind of thing. And I'm looking, and there is, I don't know the name of the bush, but there's the bush right there, lilac bush. And that you can see it there in the tall grass. There's an animal trail. So whatever comes up to the house comes up from that way and goes back that way. So there's a little game trail. And I'm looking over at the game trail. I'm just looking at it, and I notice something moves. I'm like, ooh, maybe it's an ermine, because we have a resident ermine in the house. It stays over by the chickens, but it's sometimes I hear it in my ceilings. And I'm pretty sure the cat can see through the ceiling, like, and look at it. Um, and Fancy's not a fan of this ermine, but they eat mice. But they're just as whatever. We'll get into ermine some other time. Um, so I'm like, oh, pay attention. And I realized that what I was noticing was beyond me, down the hill, into the clearing right next to the forest line, the wood line. And I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to see, dude? I can't wait. Because we got shit here, a lot of stuff. We have everything from bears to Bigfoot to big cat. You wouldn't, if you looked it up, you're not going to have the animal people tell you that there's big cats here, but you could talk to any farmer and they'll tell you there are big cats here. They see them all the time out in their fields. So um, we have coy dogs. We don't have coy wolves, though, as far as I know, which is good. Um, like I said, we have bear. They're black bear. They're pretty big here, but they're pretty much not interested in humans. But they like your garbage. Raccoon, skunk, coyote, coy dog, fox, Fisher cat. Those are bad news. Fisher cat is about the size of this cat. My cat is about the size of a Fisher cat. They're nasty, vicious, vicious. They will attack you. They will do it. They don't want nothing to do with you, and if they have to deal with you, they're going to deal with you with teeth and claws. They're just going to do it, and they probably couldn't kill you. I don't think so, unless they got really lucky. But it would not be fun. You would have to go get rabies shots, preventative. Like, it sucks. You don't want that. So anyway, I'm curious about what I'm going to see, and I'm like, oh, it's a deer. How cool. So I stand up on my little step so I can get over the grass and look at it more. And I was like, hey. And she's like, I would say 200 yards away from me, maybe further. And she looks over and she's like, what the hell? Somebody just said something to me. And I was like, hi. She's like, oh, hey. And then she turned so she could be facing me to look up at me. And I was like, what's up? I thought it was so cute. I took a tiny little recording of her and a couple of pictures as zoomed in as I could get. And then I heard this crazy sound, and I'm like, that is another deer that I can't see. And I'm like, holy shit. And so I started filming and I was able to capture the sound, which is wild because cell phones, especially at distances like that, don't tend to capture those night sounds. It just, well, it wasn't night, but they don't tend to capture them in my experience. I mean, I've got video capturing some crazy coyotes in Maine, but it like you could barely tell. And for me, it was surround sound, you know. So I was amazed at this little video. I'll put it in here. I'll put it in here so you can check it out. Maybe I'll put it at the I'll, I'll put it at the end of the video. How's that? Because I'm not good enough to know to split it right here. I still haven't figured that out. I probably should pull out my laptop. I know. And it was this crazy hoof sound, and I'm like, I wonder what that is. And I posted it on Facebook, and people around here know their deer, so I got a lot of feedback, and all of it was very close to the same. Nobody was trying to tell me it was Bigfoot because I knew damn well it wasn't Bigfoot. He'd been watching the whole thing, but he certainly wasn't talking about it. Um, and so I would say 99% of the people that responded said it is the mother either calling for her younger baby to come to her, or it's the mother out in the field calling for her baby that it's okay to come out into the field because they'll stay hidden, or it's a more dominant one, whether it's another female or what, will do that to let the other deer know you got danger situation going on, you're in trouble. So you should probably, this deer responded to it, listened to it, like, what? Really? And went back into the woods. And it was not a yearling, it was not this year's deer at all. So I don't imagine they hang out with their moms because it wasn't a mother. It didn't have any babies with her, as far as I know. Maybe she has babies, but they weren't calling her back into the woods. And like I said, if there's one deer, there's usually three. They usually travel in threes. You have the younger one, another one, another one. I don't know the relationship to them all, but they do that. Sometimes there's a male with them. So I was like, that's so cool. Then I'm thinking to myself, maybe that deer was like, I smell the meat on that lady. That's all I eat. I don't eat anything but meat. And my favorite and the best meat for you is ruminant meat. And guess what deers are? They're ruminant animals. And I was like, she was probably telling her friend that was standing in the field, that thing that you're watching and that you're interacting with being so cute, if that thing could catch you, she would eat you. So that was what my brain was doing. Holy shit. Because if that's, I don't know of any other truer thing. If that deer walked right up to me and let me wrap my arm around it, if I was the type of person that always had a pocket knife in me, on me, that might be its last time that it did something like that. That is food. And I think that's so good. I love venison. But what a weird thing to say anyway, but that's true. So I think whatever it was, whatever relative of hers that was in the woods was telling her that thing that you're talking to up there, and they can't see the dog, and the way the wind was blowing would be hard for it to smell it. And the dog was oblivious. So it was just telling the girl in the field that cute little human you're talking to probably isn't your friend. So I just thought that was funny. So I'm telling you about it. I will put that little clip at the end. Because I was like, what the fuck? Then Fancy, when she heard that noise, she was like, what is that? So I went to bed really nice. I was really excited. But anyway, we're going from there. The fireworks happened. I had a big giant cheeseburger, celebrate the 4th of July. And then I was like, oh, I wanted to watch the Washington, D.C. fireworks. excuse me, I'm probably tired because I stayed up late. And they had slowed down because they had thunderstorms or who knows, whatever was going on. And then they finally had the fireworks and they had this really cute, it was so fucking nice not to see Beyonce jumping up and down on the stage. Or even, and I love him, Kid Rock. It was so nice not to see celebrity pandering at our 250th anniversary. These people that were singing and dancing and playing music were in our military bands. It was wild. And they were incredible. And it was so much fun. And I'm looking at those people there. I'm like, man, if I could handle being around all those people, there were little kids running around. People were fucking safe. And I was stoked for them. And it was just beautiful. It was absolutely stunning. For all I know, it was just something done in the studio for all I know, but I thought it was great. And I liked it. And that was done at like 12:30. I'm like, all right, I think I'm cross-eyed now. I think I go to bed. But one thing before I get on to the nighttime after I go to bed, I watched a podcast yesterday or listened to it, depending on what I was doing. And it was pretty long. I think it was a little over 2 hours. And I don't know if you guys ever see Jack Neal. Jack Neal's a young guy. He's got bushy blonde hair. And he spells his last name Neel. Could be Jack Nell. I don't know. He recently interviewed Tucker Carlson, so it brought him to my looking. I'm over Joe Rogan. So like it's rare that I'll watch Joe Rogan. I never actually last winter was the only time I ever was kind of into it. I still watch Sean Ryan, even though I think he's full of shit. You obviously know I love Chase Hughes, so if he's on a podcast, I'm going to watch that podcast. PBD, I love him. I love him. Valuetainment, love those guys. They're hysterical. And Patrick Bet-David he's one of those guys that I've got respect for, He is that father figure dude, So, and I love the Ramsey show. I love that podcast. So, Jack Neal is new to my radar, so I subscribed to him because I liked him. And I like the questions he asks. He's not like other people. And he interviewed Owen Benjamin. He is a comic that ended up getting canceled at some point. I don't know exactly when it happened, but it happened. And he's been interviewed. I've seen him on Rogan. I've seen him on Tucker. I've seen him other places. But Jack interviewed this guy in such a way that I was able to hear Owen way more than any other podcast I've seen him on. So that might be a podcast guy you want to put in your belt, Jack Neal, because you might enjoy that. You're going to learn more from the people that are talking, that he's interviewing, than probably on other podcasts, which is wild. And the shit. Now, this is the crazy part of it. I clicked on the video for this reason, the thumbnail. The thumbnail had a picture of the new subscription that I have, and some guy I think I've seen before, but I'm not sure. That's how nondescript Owen is in other podcasts. And it had their faces in the middle. It said, "Pandas are fake." Okay, I want to see that. Why? Because I think everything's fucking fake. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I start watching this. And I'm like, I have this overwhelming feeling like I need to share this with like my granddaughter. Because this guy's he's going to just tear shit up. And I want her to have that mind that, not that it's a broken mind, but I want her to have that mind where she always looks, questions, and then questions her own belief, to constantly be challenging our own cognitive dissonance. It's really hard to do. And I'm probably not even good at it, but I try. And I want her to be that kind of person that tries, because that helps you to be more open and understanding and absorb more information that you would just not. So that was the reason why I clicked on it. And I started watching it. 5 minutes into it, I'm like, I don't even know what to say. This is amazing. The first 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, well, I'm cool with long content, so I was cool. Half hour goes by, and I'm like sending it to everyone. This is the best podcast I've ever seen. I'm not even done yet. I don't do that. I haven't sent podcasts out to people. I know other people do long content, but I don't think I necessarily know who they are. You know, I know my friend Laura, she watches long content. I sent it to her. I'm like, you need to see this when you get a chance. You know, she does the same job that I do. Hers is more resident. Hers is residential. Mine is more commercial. Because it's rentals. Uh, she'll stick in earbuds and listen to a podcast. So maybe she'll watch it. I did send it to my granddaughter. I said, I don't even know what to tell you, but you gotta watch it. And I take it into small bites, because it's going to, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, grandma, no way, you know. um and I sent it to my daughter, but I don't know anybody else sent a 2-hour freaking podcast to. So when I sent it, the thumbnail changed to penguins aren't real. And I've noticed this on YouTube, and I'm like, okay, now you're trying to wrap my head, like, is this the Mandela effect acting crazy in real time? Because I've been noticing that. I'm like, what the fuck? And the name of the podcast itself, I can't remember. Like the name of the show, like that episode. And then today I look at it and it says, nukes are fake. And the name of the show, although I can't remember what it was yesterday, was definitely different today, because I might not have clicked on it. So I just couldn't believe it. And sure enough, there are creators out there that do that. And I know, like, the Facts Behind a Hunt, that's my favorite channel of all time. He does it, but really subtly. It's almost like you could tell he went back and changed it. He doesn't change it while you're watching it. You know, he doesn't have people fucking with his YouTube channel as you're watching it. That'd be like me changing the thumbnail to this video at the 10-minute mark and then doing it again at the 30-minute mark. Like, that's obsessive. And it's like they're doing it to see what the click-through rate's going to be. And I just explained to you how I would not have clicked through. I probably wouldn't have clicked through at penguins aren't real. I definitely was interested in the pandas aren't real, for real. I don't think I even got to that in there. And I watched the whole thing. I think I've got like 3 minutes left. Nukes aren't real. I would have, the thumbnail didn't bother me, but the name of the video was like, so it's incredible, incredible podcast. I just wanted you to know. So there we go. That was my yesterday. That was my 4th of July. And it was fabulous. I went to bed a little after 12:30. I was so excited. The neighbors weren't home, so I didn't have to get any text message like, do you mind if we set up fireworks? There were no fireworks here. It was quiet. We could all sleep. It was wonderful. Those fireworks in town did not last very long. And they were like 45 minutes to an hour, and it wasn't late, you know. And then I watched my other shit on the phone. Went to bed. Fell right to sleep, which is wild. I usually don't. And I'm dreaming And in this dream, I'm afraid, and I'm trying to be quiet. And so I'm like, when I realize that I'm consciously connecting to this dream, I try to start to pay attention. I really do. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to start a playlist called Mall Dreams and tell you mine. And I want to hear yours. If you've got a mall dream, please send it to me. But they're wild. Um, so I'm thinking I'm stepping into a mall dream, and I try to pay attention in there because there's something. There's something, and I don't know what it is, but something. There's information. It could be just from my Montauk days. Who knows? Um, but I recognize that I'm afraid, and I'm trying to be very quiet. And I'm like, oof, that's not cool. So I feel like I kind of like woke up into a situation. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And like in my dream, I felt like somebody was knocking or banging. Now, if my neighbors were home, I could totally be like, there are times where I will hear that kind of thing because my neighbor, he's like a Viking, you know. So if he gets a couple of beers in him, forget about it. Every door gets slammed, every step gets stomped. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because he's mad; it's just he's just like that, and it doesn't really bother me. But I was really like, there was no one in this house, and I was stoked. And so I would say that in the dream, it was about from when I came into the dream and realized I was afraid and being very quiet because of a noise in my dream. I realized I was far away from the door and I didn't want anybody to think about going in the door and discovering me. And I knew it was dark and I might be able to just look like a pile of clothes or something like that, you know, like I was thinking of these things like shut up, don't cough. And I'm looking around in the dream. I'm still asleep. Then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, phew. I hear Fancy's toes. She jumps up from her bed in this room right across from me on the floor. She was sleeping there. I hear her toes and she comes running into the bedroom. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, no fucking way. It wasn't a dream. Somebody's knocking on my fucking door. And it's 1:30 in the morning. My neighbors aren't home. I'm listening for my neighbors. I don't hear any neighbors. Nobody's next door. They didn't come home in the middle of the night. It is impossible to get to my fucking front door. You can't. You can't. So immediately before I get up, I'm thinking maybe other doors have been, maybe that's what I heard. There's other doors being opened. And now someone's up the fucking stairs banging on my door. And I'm wide awake. The dog's like shaking so much. Her name tag and her rabies tag are clanging. I'm like, for fuck's sake, dude. So I get up. I walk like a ninja anyway. I am. If I ever lived in an apartment above you, you wouldn't even know I was home. I'm quiet. I hate that, like being loud. I've lived under too many people to know that if you live on top of them, you better shut the fuck up. You know. So I come out here and I'm afraid to get this far into the couch, so I'm sitting about here. The door's right fucking there. Right, no hiding me if that door opens. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, what am I going to do if somebody fucking bangs on the door again? And I'm sitting right here. How am I going to shut up? Like, holy fuck me. Somebody could be right fucking there. And Fancy's sitting right here. We're in the dark. I have no lights on. And her head is looking at the door. The cat's out here looking at the door. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And now I'm like, oh, maybe I should move. Like, I should get the fuck away from this door. Maybe I should be in a location that they wouldn't think of looking first. Somebody's at my door is what I'm thinking. Holy fuck me. I sat here for 15 minutes waiting for that door. I didn't want to keep moving because I may be a ninja, but if somebody has found their way into my house and gotten to my door, they're listening for everything. And I'm like, motherfucker. I was so fucking scared. Oh no. That's terrible. It's terrible how scared I got. And finally I was like, all right. And the animals just follow me. I don't have to talk. And I go into the bedroom. Fancy comes in, the cat comes running in. I normally treat my apartment like a master bedroom. There's the sleeping quarters. This is the parlor. There's the pantry, and there's a bathroom. I treat it like a room in a castle when they called them apartments. So I don't necessarily shut everything up. So they got in, and I moved the obstruction because my door will shut, and I like it to be open. And I moved that without making a fucking sound. And I shut my bedroom door. I locked it. I went into the bathroom. I listened. Still nobody downstairs. I went to the bathroom. I did not flush. And I crawled into bed. And I probably didn't stay up another 30 seconds. I woke up this morning like, what the fuck was that? I wonder if maybe friends of theirs came over and was knocking on their door, because that would sound the same. And maybe they only knocked twice. I'm pretty sure that would sound very similar from my bedroom. If somebody was knocking on their door, that's the only thing I can think of. Because they weren't knocking on this door, because when I went out this morning, I checked. Nobody came in. Nobody found. They would have had to break a window. They would have had to kick a door in. They would have had to been a fucking magician. Nobody got in this house. Holy shit. But that makes me think. Like how peaceful and protected I felt yesterday. And all it took was, whether it was only part dream or if I was hearing somebody knocking on my neighbor's doors, being fucking assholes, or what. But it definitely reminded me that that's some vulnerable shit. What if somebody fucking kicked that door in? What would you do? I have known people this shit has happened to. I've actually been in that situation before. Because I've had this crazy nuts life. I have been in that situation before. Not this situation, but that situation. Because I am sober and there's no bagman sitting on a bunch of cocaine in my house. So that situation would not happen here. It was just so fucked up. Just so fucked up. So I wonder what you think of that. What would you do if you woke up in the middle of the night, an hour after you went to bed, you're sleeping, you had like shit's good, and you have that what felt like a dream going into reality. It could have been somebody knocking on my neighbor's door. They do have friends that are younger that wouldn't even think twice about that. You know what I mean? They just wouldn't. They'd be like, dude, where the fuck are you guys at? But at the same time, I don't think they locked their door. Their friends would have just walked in and hollered for them, and they would have seen a major vehicle was not in the driveway. That vehicle, when it's not in the driveway, usually has both occupants in it. So I don't know. That's crazy, right? I don't like it. Did not like it one bit. That is terrifying. So I gotta come up with a better way. Because if something like that ever happened, I can't be just terrified. What the fuck? That's crazy, right? So I wanted to let y'all know about that. I thought it was wild. I told my daughter that this morning. She came and worked with me today. And she's sitting there and I'm telling her, just like I told you, she's like, holy fuck. Like, yeah, that's fucked up. So I definitely batten down the hatches again. And I have to go downstairs one more time because that's where my laundry is. And I probably will take the little woman out maybe around sunset or shortly after because it's getting close right now. Um, and I'll double check everything. And maybe I'll bring up a machete. Crazy. But anyway, that's it. So I would recommend that you go look at the podcast on Jack Neal's channel, Jack Neal Podcast, and look up the one who knows what name it is now or what thumbnail it has right now. The one with him with Owen Benjamin. It's phenomenal. I took notes. I got pages of notes. I was going to make a video just talking about the shit he had to say. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Not really. It's like I've never quite heard anybody explain what I think is going on quite that way. I'm not saying that I agree with everything he said, not at all. What I'm saying is he sees it. He could probably walk into the room and we'd be like, dude, what's up? You're like, he sees it. He's totally seeing it. Whether I think what he thinks is true or not is irrelevant. He's got vision. He sees and it's wild. The only thing that I found funny about him is like he's a Tucker fanboy. Tucker Carlson. And I can understand that because like Tucker's my boyfriend. Like I've got a crush on Tucker Carlson. It's so funny. That's the creepiest, funniest thing I've ever even said out loud. But I don't. I see right through Tucker. Tucker's full of shit. He's so full of shit. And they're like, "Oh, he's so real." I'm like, I have caught him in more fucking lies and twisted words. He is a human being that is really good at what he does. And part of what he does is he spins a tale. He's exactly what Owen was talking about. He's a wizard with words. And they totally don't see it. And I was like, oh my God, you guys are funny. Because I'm a fangirl of Tucker Carlson. I'd wear a t-shirt with his face on it. I almost like him as much as I like Trump. And that's a lot. It's hysterical. But I see his flaws, and I see right through it. And he reminds me very much growing up in the Hamptons of that kind of kid. And I probably would have hated him in high school. I probably would have taken every opportunity I got to embarrass the fuck out of him in high school. Yep. He would have been one of those people. So I just thought it was funny. They both have big fanboys of Tucker. I just thought it was cute. Because Tucker's awesome. I fucking adore him. He's great. What a good time that motherfucker is. But he's full of shit. Not that he's wrong all the time or lying all the time, but he's playing a part. Don't believe half of the things that he says about what he thinks. Okay? That's all. That would be like me. I'm not going to tell you what I think you want me to hear in order to convince you to believe a certain way. He will. That's what he does. He's a broadcaster. He is a celebrity. So, yeah, that's it. I think I've talked your ear off long enough. It's a pretty good recap of yesterday. Such a perfect day. Weird night, but I got back to sleep really quickly, which I thought was odd too. I don't. I didn't have any bad dreams, and I didn't have any mall dreams. I didn't go into anything. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but all I'm saying, I probably would. I might not be here right now if somebody banged on that door while I was sitting here at 1:30 in the morning. I, that would have fucked me up. I would have called the cops. And I live rural. We're talking 25-minute minimum until somebody gets here. There's no town police. It doesn't work that way. There's not enough people. So, yeah, freaky, freaky, freaky. But that's it. I had an incredible steak. I broke fast today at 3:30. I am completely obsessed with these stupid LaCroix. I'm not going to let myself get upset about it. There's the ingredients are nothing. I don't know why. It's obsession. I hate that right now. And I feel compulsive, not obsessive, compulsive to drink it. Like, I love it. Oh, at least it's not White Claws, right? At least I'm not fucked up. So, anyway, I'm going to let you go. I've had you here for almost an hour. I appreciate your patience. I will definitely put the sound of the deer at the end. And, yeah, I definitely think I need to. If you've ever had a mall dream, which is a very elaborate, long dream with a lot of details, and they're called mall dreams because some people always are in a mall when they have these dreams. I've had a couple of actual mall dreams, but it's been a couple of years. But I know when I get into one, I'm like, oh, okay, like I know I'm not the only one there. I know it. I also am lucid, and I know I can change events. I can make things different, but I know I'm not the only one in there. So I got to figure out a way. If you've ever had a mall dream and you want to share it with me, I'd love to hear it. And if maybe I'll make a playlist and just read out other people's mall dreams. I think it's wild. There might be somebody who already does it. I don't even know. But I'm gonna go. I'm like itchy throat. So good. Limoncello. Okay, I'm out of here. I love you long time. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. That's got fancy thinking.